If you could listen to one type of music for the rest of your life, what do you think it would be? If you're anything like me, that's a horrible question because you like all sorts of music. I'm going to reveal my answer to that question at the end of this week's podcast because, yes, this is the Studio Live Today podcast, and I'm once again going to answer 10 questions that I get asked all the time, and I'm going to do it while I'm out walking. I'm here at the moment in St. Peter's, which is a wealthy and affluent suburb of Adelaide, and I'm walking into the city, but I'm walking a special way I like to go, where I get to go down and under a bridge, and I meet a troll. No, I don't do that. I go under the bridge, I go down by the River Torrens, so it's a beautiful walk and some nice scenery around here, and I thought, why not take advantage of the reasonably good weather. It's not raining right now here in the late July. Almost spring, that's what I'm going to call it. Not middle of winter. It's all about perception. It's all about how you think about things, isn't it? So we're going to answer 10 questions plus that one. So if you're watching on the video version or if you're listening on the podcast version and you want to provide your feedback, your insights into your style of music that you would listen to, if you could only listen to metal, if you could only listen to pop, if you could only listen to grunge for the rest of your life, what would it be? Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's go into some questions, shall we? One that I get here is, what is the best thing about being a YouTuber? Oh man, do I have a mixed view on even the word YouTuber? But it's at least it's better than influencer. So if I have to be called something, I'd rather be YouTuber than influencer. But the best thing about it is this, is what I'm doing right now. It's the freedom of being able to just pick up and go when I want to and when I need to. So for me right now, I spent the morning, it's a Thursday morning, I spent the morning wrangling the children and getting ready for school and all that sort of jazz, all the regular parent stuff. Then I recorded and edited and released a video, which you may have seen if you saw the one about Logic Pro and the drummer and the feel and the swing and how to keep your drums in time. So, and then I get to come out here and do this. So there aren't too many jobs where you get to choose when you do your work. So for me, I can get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. If I've got energy, I start working. And it means that days like today, if I'm done by 11:30, I can go out and walk. And then if I go, hey, instead of going back to the studio and sitting at the same place I sit all day, every day and recording a podcast, what if I just grab my phone and go for a walk and record this week's podcast while I'm walking out and about, getting run over by cars? Then I can do that as well. Just wait for this car that's backing out past me to go. And then we'll continue on. Just as I was coming here, there was one car coming out, another car turning left. So this is one of the dangers, I guess. If I say what's the best thing about being a podcaster, being a YouTuber, yeah, the dangers of suburban mums and their four-wheel drives. But yeah, to me it's the freedom. To me it's the ability that I can make my own hours, I can do my own thing, and I don't have to answer to anyone. Now, is that also a challenge? Because, you know, I don't have a boss telling me what to do, and I don't have any structure to my day, and sometimes it's hard to get up and get motivated to do what I need to do. Yeah, so swings and roundabouts. Like anything in life, nothing is perfect, nothing is absolutely great, and nothing's absolutely terrible. Most things are somewhere in between, in my opinion. Should we move on to question 2? Number 2. How could I become a YouTuber? So as often as I get asked the question, hey, what do you like about being a YouTuber, being an educator, being a content creator? The follow-up question is usually, and got any advice? Got any tips? Got any ways that I can do what you do? And the short answer is don't. Don't do it, because of all the reasons I just talked about. But no, if you must, then there's a few things you can do. Number 1 is to just start, just do it. So I know that sounds very Nike, that sounds very slogan-y, motivational, but I've always said, when you don't know where to start, just start, and everyone starts at 0. So you're not going to know everything you need to know from the word go. You're not going to know how to shoot video, edit video, make sure your audio's right, that your lighting's okay. You're not going to know how to promote, you're not going to know how to do all of your metadata and your thumbnails and all of that sort of jazz. So In fact, it's quite relevant because I had one of the members of the community, their son had started on YouTube, and they were starting to get things like offers from companies to promote things and to do affiliate programs. And yeah, I kind of thought back to that, and I remember I had no clue. I didn't know what an affiliate program was. I didn't know the difference between genuine, legitimate companies that were actually reaching out and offering me things versus those that were just absolute scammers. So it's hard, but probably the best piece of advice is to have people around you and learn from those that are already doing. Not to say copy, there's no cookie cut away. Everyone's experience is going to be different, but at least learn a little bit about the basics. And luckily, there's YouTube, there's tutorials. When I first started out, I watched a lot of Sean Cannell stuff, Nick Nimmin and Dee Nimmin. There's a lot of YouTube gurus. There's a lot of people giving the wrong and false information, and there's a lot of outdated stuff too. So that's why I say it's not about learning everything and then just mirroring and mimicking that and doing the same as everyone else has done. It's about finding out what the basics are, learning how to do the basics, and then growing and then changing it up based on you. Because if you try to copy exactly what someone else does, it's not going to work. Everyone's different. No two people are not on fire. Everyone is different. So you're not going to be the best Mr. Beast or the best insert name of a popular channel you like here, Rick Beato, but you are going to be the best you. Doesn't mean you can't learn some things from those people that are amazingly big and successful. No, of course you can. But a lot of the stuff that they can do won't apply to you. And I'll give you one little example before I pause to cross this road so I don't get run over. One example of this is that people that are already have an audience. So people say to me, "Oh, how come Mr. Beast or Rick Beato or insert name can just go out there and put out whatever they want? They can have a variety channel. They can have a channel where they talk about different things on every video. And yet you're telling me I need a niche. You're telling me I need to focus and have a point and be really clear about my content and what I'm doing." Yeah, that's because you don't already have an audience. You're relying on people finding you. You're relying on word of mouth or word of mouse, click, click. So you don't have the luxury to be able to do that when you're starting out. But then when you're a bit more established, you can do weird things. Like I can. I can do a random video where I'm walking around and it's okay, because some people may watch it. Thank you for watching it. Question number 3 as we walk down the path. This is the path I was talking about before. You'll hear some traffic noise as opposed to, the not traffic noise we heard before. You'll hear some traffic noise as we walk down here because we're about to walk under a major road. But that's why I like walking this way, because we're walking along the river bend, and we're going to go under this big bridge and then pop out the other side. Let's answer question 3, which is, what do you do that's not music related? So this, I go for walks. So I love walking. I love being out in nature. So this is the main, one of the main things I do. I like exploring things and communities where people are passionate about things. So lately, I've been getting into a couple of communities. One is the aviation, the plane spotting community. Watch my step there. So the plane spotting community is really interesting because these are people that literally go out to airports and watch planes, which on the surface, you think that's very weird, right? That's bizarre. Why would anyone do that? But it's actually really interesting, and it's really relaxing as well, and it's something completely different. And this is what I say to a lot of people when they say, "I'm getting burnt out." We'll talk about burnout later because that's one of the questions. I'm getting burnt out on music. And I say, take a break from music entirely. Do something completely different. Play a video game. Read a fiction book. Nothing to do with music. Go for a walk. Go for a drive if you want to. If you're a motorbike rider, go ride your motorbike. Do something completely different because, thank you, because yeah, it's important to actually have different interests outside of what you do. And so for me, it's this. Obviously love spending time with my family. I don't mind a drink, as you can probably tell, or a bite to eat, as you can probably tell from some of the things I do. And yeah, I like hanging out with family and friends. I am an absolute introvert, so I'm not the life of the party or out socializing all the time, but definitely do enjoy the people that I enjoy, put it that way. So my wife often says to me, yeah, you don't tolerate fools, do you? And I really don't, except I'm now on the internet and it's kind of my job to tolerate some fools some of the time. Not you, but they know who they are. Should we go to question 4? And yes, as promised, it's burnout. So the question I get asked quite often is, have you ever been burnt out by YouTube? Have you ever gotten up in the morning and gone, I don't want to make a video today, I don't want to talk about music today? Short answer is yes. Now that's easy to work around. As I said in the opening, because I have so much flexibility in my job, it's very easy to work around that when I'm doing like a pre-recorded video or I'm just working on some admin, because guess what? You can procrastinate that stuff. You can put that stuff off. You don't have to do it immediately. A little more challenging when I'm doing a live show. And have there been times where I've had a live show scheduled and I haven't been feeling it? Yeah, I'll be honest, there is. Because, yeah, you know what it's like. Have you ever had that when you have to go to work? Yeah, but it's your job, so you do it. And I consider it as a bit of a challenge, because I think I often say I'm an introvert. I'm not an extrovert, but I play well on YouTube. And the reason I say that is that a part of it is definitely acting, isn't it? It is playing a role. It's playing a character that's not necessarily who I naturally am. And is that bad? Is that disingenuous? I don't think so. I've always said that the public version of us, or even sometimes the work version of us, is not always 100% who we are at home, and it's definitely not 100% of who we are when we're by ourselves, but it's like a 2x version of that, or sometimes a 3x, or some people are a 10x or a 100x version of themselves when they're online. But for me, yeah, I think that the way that I make sure that I don't get burnt out is this, is to do things that are completely separate from YouTube and music and coming out and enjoying a stroll in nature. Next question is, what is the biggest lesson that you've learnt as a YouTube content creator? Yeah, no, I was going to say don't be, but I realise I'm coming across a little bit negative with some of these responses, and I certainly don't mean to be. I think I'm used to talking to my children and their friends who think that being a influencer or a content creator is A, easy, and B, lucrative, and it's neither. So I guess, there's a big Qatari Airlines. Told you I was getting into the planes. Can you see it? Couldn't really get a shot of it. You can see a big Qatar across the bottom. I think that's the Qatar 777 leaving from here to Doha, or maybe it's going over to Melbourne. Anyway, I told you I was getting into planes. What biggest learnings? Don't walk while holding a bunch of gear in a completely secluded pathway. No, it's the middle of the day. It's Adelaide, and I have a second phone here. I'll dial 911, and then if someone comes, I'll dial 1. No, because it's Australia, it would be 000, not 911. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, lessons. Don't ramble on when you're recording a video. Stick to the point. That is actually probably the biggest lesson I've learned. My wife keeps me in check with this one, because if I'm recording a video, I've got her, because she hates it. She hates videos, especially tutorial videos, where it's like, in this video we're going to tell you how to do this, and when we tell you how to do this, you're going to feel this, and when you feel this, you're going to do this, and when you do this, you're going to have this. Or just tell me what to do, especially where it's like, hey, how do you set this setting? You go here, you click here, you tap here, you enable this setting. So I kind of learnt that over the years, that a lot of my earlier tutorial videos were 20 to 30 minutes long, and they probably needed to be 5. Or if I'm really hand-on heart honest, they probably needed to be 2. Because I thought that I had to teach in a way that was like engaging, because I guess my learning knowledge came from being in management roles, working in call centres, working in customer experience teams and customer service teams. And a lot of the information downloading that I had to do, I had to give context. I had to motivate people. But when someone's clicking on a YouTube video, they're motivated. They want to know the information. You don't have to convince them that they want to know the information. They want to know it. Beware of snakes. Yes, there are snakes in the surrounding area. So, yeah, understanding, and I guess that all relates back to knowing your audience. And early on, I probably didn't know my audience and hadn't spent a lot of time thinking about or analysing who my videos were for, which is ironic because my previous job was all around customer experience and customer personas and working out who your customer cohorts and groups are. Yet I hadn't at that point realised that the people that were clicking on my videos to watch about learning how to record in GarageBand were primarily males aged 30 to 50 who had done music in the past, who were getting back into music, and who wanted quick, easy, and instructional tutorials about how to do it. They didn't have a lot of time. They didn't have the ability to wade through stuff. They just give me the facts, man, and let me move on. And I think it was once I realised that that things like the Quick Jam series, the 2-minute tip series, the 5-minute tip series I'm doing now, I really have realised that less is more. And yeah, just because people will watch a 20-minute video doesn't mean they should have to. So yeah, that's the biggest learning. That and lighting. Don't underestimate lighting, because as you can see, it can be really good or really bad. So if you're looking directly into the sun like that versus using the sun to light you like that, it's a big difference. And yeah, when you're in the studio or you're recording indoors, yeah, your lighting is pretty important to make sure that you get the best quality video. I don't think I realized that early on. I thought video, yep, tick. Audio, yep, tick. Didn't factor in lighting. Wasn't until my mate Clint bought me some big soft boxes and said, put these in your studio. And I did. That I stopped looking grainy and out of focus and gross. So lighting, there you go, a twofer. That's the other biggest learning from being a content creator. What YouTube channels do you watch? Well, I don't watch a lot of music YouTube channels, if I'm very honest. I watch a little bit of folks in this community. So I watch Jade Star, I watch Thomas Christ, I watch Mike over at Creative Source. So I do keep up with some of what's going on. Jamie Malander, I love Jamie's work. But to be honest, because I live and breathe home recording and home studios and the online music scene, well, there's another plane. Can we get this one a bit closer? There it goes. I think that's a, what is that? Is that Qantas? I can only see white. Anyway. It's why I watch plane spotting videos, because I don't know, it's once I'm done with music, I'm kind of done with music. And I know I mentioned it a couple of times already, but I think that's one of the biggest, if I was giving advice to folks, that's one of the biggest bits of advice I'd give is don't go all in on your passions. I know it sounds weird. People are like, but if you're, you got to live and breathe music. If you want to be a top, not, and sure, maybe if you want to be like a touring guitar player or a session musician, yeah, maybe you need to spend 8 hours a day practicing. You need to live and breathe music. But I bet you if you're a session guitarist, if you've played 8 hours of guitar in the studio, the last thing you want to do when you get home is to pull out your guitar and play more. I bet you that they get home and fire up the PlayStation or sit and watch some Netflix and chill. Yeah, I just think that finding different things. Anyway, what was the question? Yeah, what do I watch? So I love, again, aviation stuff. Noel Phillips is a cool aviation channel. I love Lost in the Pond, which is a channel with a British guy whose name's escaping me right now, which is sad. But he does some really good stuff. I watch a little sprinkling of politics, not very much, just to keep up with what's been going on. Love scam baiting, so Scammer Payback is great, and Kit Boga is great, so I really enjoy that. And I'm a giant retro tech nerd, in that I don't actually do it, so I'm not out there creating things or building old computers or whatever, but I love watching other people do it. The plane's flight paths are directly over here in North Adelaide today, which is cool. I'm going to finish this video and go watch some planes. So yeah, that's the sort of stuff I watch, and just what I'm recommended. that's funny or that's interesting from other people. Get to the next question in just a moment, but a little bit of quick info about where I am. So the wall that I'm walking along here, this is actually the Adelaide Zoo. Over there is North Adelaide, which is a nice sort of suburb. There's the Women's and Children's Hospital is over there. Adelaide Oval is further down. We'll probably see that before we finish this video as well. And we're walking towards the city centre along the River Torrens. And if you've been around the channel for a while, you know that this is one of the places where I like to hang out because it's quiet. When there's not a bearded bald guy walking along in a hat and a backpack talking to himself, it's very quiet and serene around here, as you'll be able to hear if I stop. Except that one truck reversing and that one truck doing some construction and that bit of wind. Anyway, what's the next question? Yeah, this one's interesting. If you had $1,000 and you wanted to start recording music today, what would you buy and why? And this is a good question for you too, especially if you're experienced. Maybe if you're watching the video version, let us know your budget suggestions, as well as the question we'll finish with around what sort of music you'd listen to for the rest of your life. Let me know what budget gear you would use. So for me, if the $1,000 had to include a device, I would get an iPad. I would get an iPad Pro, probably around, if I could scrape an M1 iPad Pro for $400 or $500, but more likely an iPad Pro from like 2020 or 2018, because I would want to leave enough room to get a decent quality audio interface and microphone. So I would probably get myself a Steinberg UR12 or a Focusrite Scarlett Solo. Microphone wise, I'd probably get an Audio Technica AT2020, and yeah, a couple of, like a mic cable and a guitar cable, and then I can record microphones and I can record guitars at good quality. Yeah, what else? So yeah, because I'd get the iPad Pro, it would be USB-C, so everything would plug directly in, which is important to do that. And why wouldn't I go a computer? Well, I'm really out of the loop when it comes to PC recording, so I wouldn't have the foggiest what you'd use for a PC. I guess there's still Cakewalk by BandLab. There's Reaper, which is a good option. A lot of people still use things like Audacity for audio recording. So yeah, there's options if you've got a PC, and you can obviously get a pretty cheap PC with decent specs for $400 or $500 as well. I think a Mac, you'd want at least an M1 Mac. So I guess your other option is to get like a MacBook Air M1 if you wanted to go the MacBook route, and you could probably get one of those for $400, $500, $600. And then yeah, it'd just be down to audio interface and headphones. So if I was starting out, I'd want headphones, because you can use headphones to track music and also to record. So to track, to record, but also to mix and to master. Speakers, so having some monitor speakers, I'd probably do a little further down the track, so I wouldn't do that. So yeah, my basic setup would be iPad Pro 2020 with USB-C. I'd get myself a Steinberg UR12, Audio Technica AT2020, pair of Sennheiser HD 280 Pro headphones, and I reckon that would come in well under $100, and that'd be my recommendation as we go under the bridge downtown. Yeah, I went there. As we emerge from the other side of the bridge, we're going to ask the next question, and this one's more of a practical one. Someone asked recently, and I've got videos about this, so you can go to studiolivetoday.com/distrokid, but can you actually, once you've released a song to Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Amazon, all the places, can you change it? Should you change it? I think the better question is, should you change it? I would say, if you can possibly avoid it, don't. The way I look at music distribution and sharing music is I'm a bit old school with it. I kind of like to consider that it's like you're printing a CD. So when you're printing a CD, you want to make sure that the cover is spot on. You want to make sure that the audio is spot on, that the titling, that the artist naming, that everything is exactly what you want it to be. And then you release it to the world, and then it's like a snapshot in time. And I know we live in the digital plane where you can go back and change things. You can go back and update the audio file or the album artwork or the title. But the problem you get into is a lot of platforms, and I'm looking at you, Spotify, a lot of platforms have this thing where as soon as you remove something and then try to re-upload that exact same track, it says, no, this is a duplicate. Even if you've like maybe tweaked the title, or you've tweaked the master, you've tweaked the audio file, or you've changed something in it, it still doesn't want it. It still says, no, this is a duplicate. So the way to do it is you have to pull it down and look, if it's one song on an album, yeah, guess what? You got to pull down the whole album. And then you're going to replace that one song, put all the other songs back in as well, and then re-upload the whole thing. Will it keep your streams and your play counts and all that sort of stuff? It doesn't matter, those are vanity metrics, but I understand that I'm alone in that. Everyone else wants to keep their vanity metrics. So yes, usually there's something called the ISRC number. So you do want to make sure that if you can enter your ISRC number, that you do that with your re-release, and that will hopefully ensure that it syncs up with your previous streams and all of those lovely numbers. But don't worry, if like me, you just want to make sure that you still get paid for it. You'll still get paid even if it does reset those metrics. So yeah, there's that. So can you? Yes. Is it easy? No. Do I recommend it? No. So it's a whole measure twice, cut once. That thing where if you're a carpenter, they always say to measure twice and cut once, meaning when you're releasing your songs, when you're releasing your albums, when you're releasing your EPs, instead of having to go back and change something after the fact, why not just double check and make sure that it's as accurate as possible before you hit that first release button. But if you want more information, studiolivetoday.com/distrokid. The second to last question here is, do you still get nervous when you do a live stream? And it's an interesting one. When I was asked this recently, I kind of had to stop and think about it. And I thought, do I get nervous? I get excited. I feel, I know it sounds a bit wanky, but I feel like honoured and privileged that people would actually care enough about what I have to say to actually tune into a live stream and to watch me talk about music, or just anything, or play my own music during the happy hour or whatever it is. But nerves, probably maybe the happy hour is where I get the most nerves. So if you don't know, I do a weekly live acoustic show where I learn some songs and I play them. And if there's a particularly hard song that I don't really know that well that I'm trying to play, then yeah, that can be a bit nerve-wracking. There's some ducklings. Should we go see the ducklings? But yeah, just the usual, like just doing a Your Music live show or something like that. Not so much anymore. Let's have a look at these ducklings. Aren't they adorable? I love this time of year as we come into spring, because we have, is that duck, is that bird caught in a little bit of crud there? That's no good. Hey, I can't really climb in, and I know maybe it's just floating randomly behind it. But yeah, ducklings. Ducklings for the win. What were we talking about? I told you I get distracted by nature. Yeah, so nervous? No, not so much. Look, this is probably more nerve-wracking, walking out in public talking to myself, because I didn't do this when I first started. I was too worried about a few things. I thought everyone would think I'm trying to film them and being a total creeper, or they would be listening to what I'm saying and they'd be judging me. But it's not actually that abnormal now to see someone walking with like a selfie stick and a camera and a microphone walking around. And some people are probably actually thinking, oh, I wonder what he's doing. And some have actually asked, oh, are you a YouTuber? I'm like, yeah, I am a YouTuber. I don't know why we say it like that. But yeah, so technology. So when the technology's failing, that does make me a bit nervous, because that's kind of outside of my control. So I guess that's the final frontier of things that worry me, are making sure the technology is actually working, and the internet's working, the computer's working, and the audio gear's working, and the camera's working. So yeah, that can create a little anxiety. But the actual me in front of a camera doing a thing, no. And wind. Also wind. So before we get completely blown away by the wind, or maybe we've missed that opportunity here, what would be the genre of music that I would listen to? Well, in news that would surprise almost nobody, it'd probably be folk music, and specifically acoustic kind of folk music, because that's the sort of music that I can listen to like 24/7. So I'll just try and remove the wind. So it doesn't really matter what time of day it is, day, night, what mood I'm in. There's kind of different styles, some of it more mellow finger style, some more strummy and upbeat. But yeah, there's something about acoustic guitar driven folk rock that I think, especially as I age. Now, this is the thing, it would have been different if I was in my 20s. It would have been alt rock, grunge rock, that sort of style. In my 30s, it might have been more ska or piano based stuff. I was heavily into Ben Folds in my 30s. And now in my 40s, it's more acoustic guitar based acoustic rock. So that would be it. What about you? Metal, punk, polka, I don't know, classical. See, I wouldn't want to have to not listen to classical again. I wouldn't want to not have to listen to jazz music ever again. There's so many different cool genres of music that it's kind of a terrifying question, isn't it? It's kind of that whole thing of, would you want to, if you could only see or hear ever again, what would you do? I'd probably have to go see. But man, would I miss hearing, and man, would I miss music. So that's going to have to do it for this grown ass man. Yes, I am back at that spot where we filmed Grown, my Songtember song from a couple of years ago. Over behind me is the Adelaide Oval that you can see back there. And yeah, the wind is clearly in control. So thanks for tuning into this one. Thank you for all of your support. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, head over to studiolivetoday.com and find all the ways that you can get involved. So you can support me on Patreon, you can become a channel member, or you can make a donation. But until next time, I want to say a few things. Be kind to yourself, folks. Be kind to each other. Keep creating. I'll see you next time here on the Studio Live Today podcast. Bye for now. Say bye, Popeye.